You probably never thought you'd see that before, me raising a microphone to be higher. Thank you. Good evening. Welcome to our spring concert, Kendall Hills High School Band Program. Really happy to be here tonight. I think you're going to enjoy this concert. It's not going to be real long tonight, but I think you're going to have a real nice variety of things, and I think it's going to be a very enjoyable evening for you. First of all, I want to start out by saying, do you all notice the flower on the program? This is kind of a weird thing. One of those things that happens, you think, we're putting together a program, and Sue Del Rosa, who's our administrative assistant, was putting things together. And she said, let's make this springy, do something nice. And she picked a random flower and she put it on there. I said, what kind of flower is that? And she said, well, let's look it up. And it's the columbine flower. And we just randomly picked that flower. And most of you know that this past Monday was the 10th anniversary of the Columbine school tragedy. So we kind of, I thought that was kind of something talking to me to say, I would like to just kind of dedicate this concert to the families, the victims and their families, and everybody who was affected by that tragedy 10 years ago in Colorado. That has changed the way we look at things in our world, especially here in the United States, and in particular in the area of education. Those of you who are in education, we have gone through many, many different changes and many things that we've done to adjust the way we look at things and the way we do things in schools now because of that. But those families are still suffering, I'm sure, and that's something that's always going to be with them. So we just like to kind of think of those people tonight and know that we've been very blessed here in our area to be free of those kind of things. And so we'd like to remember those people tonight with this concert. Thank you. It's going to be a nice variety this evening. We're going to start with our percussion ensemble, and it's going to be under the direction of Mr. Chris Bookie, my cohort, my partner in crime. And he's going to do that first, and then we're going to do a full band piece, and you see we're going to have a jazz band piece. Now, I'm going to tell you that this percussion ensemble piece and the jazz band piece are really just a teaser, because they're teasing you for an event that's coming up, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But I want you to enjoy all the different groups tonight. And Mr. Bookie, are you set to go? Hope you enjoyed the PowerPoint, a lot of information there for you that's coming up. And I'm going to let Mr. Bookie explain the piece a little bit.
Good evening. I hope you guys are doing good out there. This percussion piece is titled Mi nombre es Amadeus. I don't know, I'm not a Spanish guy, so. But as far as I know, it means my name is Amadeus, which Mozart, the composer, the classical composer, was, all the pieces that are in here are inspired by that. So please enjoy the Kendall Hills Percussion Ensemble. All right, while they are striking the front set here, I wanted to talk quickly. There was a sheet as you walked in on your right-hand side, and that sheet was something I put together today. I've been talking a lot with the boosters, and we're trying to just build a little bit more of a face to this where people can kind of have an avenue to communicate even more. There's always the booster meetings, as you saw in the PowerPoint presentation, that meet every first Tuesday of the month, unless it's spring break or something like that. But this form that we put out is actually a sheet that we're asking for your information. We want to set up an email database that we can use to get communication to you guys. Whether it be something like this concert was actually scheduled originally at 7 o'clock or 7:30, I think. We had to bump it to 8 o'clock due to sports conflicts. Well, what we could do is send out an email 3 weeks before or 2 weeks before that says, hey, make sure you check out the Band Booster website and make sure that you check the calendar. So we're putting this together, and what I've done is actually included on that sheet, and if you didn't get one, grab one on your way out. I've included the bandbooster.khps.org website, and on there, if you click on the website, if you don't feel like filling one out or you don't have a pen or pencil, you can go home tonight and go to the website, and there's a little icon in the left-hand corner, and you can click on it, and a survey will come up, and you can put all your information there. If you have multiple kids in the program, you can actually, it gives you instructions on how to deal with that and everything, and we're just trying to put together a way to communicate better with you guys. We'd really appreciate it if all of you who have children in this program, if you could fill one out. We're not going to solicit this information. These email addresses and phone numbers are for specifically Kennewa Hills instrumental music groups, and that's all it's going to be used for. But it's a way, like there may be something where Frank and I need to send out something, or Mr. Hostler needs to send out something to the parents, and we want to do it in an email, and then we'll have mass groups. But no one's emails will be released to anyone. They're for our use only, not for anyone else out there. So please find a sheet and either fill it out this evening or go to the website and fill it out from there. And speaking of the website, if you haven't been on there, we've been working a lot on trying to change some things up. We put a new calendar on there that actually has different sections for different groups. A lot of really great things happening on there, and it's a really great way for you guys to find out what's going on. So please go check out that site. You'll find it's a nice handy tool to use for all of this. I think, is there something else, Mr. Hilliard?
Okay, I just want to point out that our program tonight is primarily Americana this year. We're starting out now. What a Spanish title of Mozart and a little bit of Bach has to do with Americana? Well, it was arranged by an American who tried to Americanize things, so that's how we kind of snuck that in there. But if you look at the rest of the program, we have a Sousa March. You can't get much more American than that. And then we have our jazz band piece was made famous. It was written by Billy Strayhorn, but made famous by Duke Ellington, again, one of our most famous American musicians. Appalachian Dances is about an area in America that I grew up very close to. I grew up in the kind of foothills of the Appalachians, and actually went to college and did some teaching and coaching in the Appalachia area early on in my career. And so that's kind of a place close to my heart, but it's also got some great history. And then our last piece, Jubilant Preludes, by a composer by the name of Claude T. Smith. He is no longer with us, but Claude T. Smith was one of our most prolific American band composers over the last 40 or 50 years, and has just got many, many good pieces out there. So kind of a primarily American type program tonight, and that's kind of what we've kind of leaned toward this year. So I'm hoping you enjoy the entire program and sit back and relax for the rest of the evening. Okay, while Jazz Band's finishing setting up, I just want to point out a couple things. One of the things Mr. Bookie wanted me to mention to you was that there are two box tops. There's like, the tops of boxes, kind of shallow box, to collect those sheets. If you fill those out and drop those in those boxes tonight, that'd be greatly appreciated. It's just going to give us another way to keep you informed of everything that's going on. Also, I'd like for you to take a look at the bottom of the program and just want to point out a few upcoming events. Pretty much self-explanatory. We have our middle school concert and our intermediate school concert next week. Our intermediate will go at 7, and our middle school will be at 8:15. Then May 7th is our district orchestra concert. If you have not gotten a chance to hear our orchestra program, you need to get out and hear it. Weston, are you out there? Can we have lights for a minute? Yeah, right here. Stand up and say hi. This is Weston Hosser. He's our very new, shy orchestra director, and he's doing a great job with our orchestra program. And if you haven't got a chance to hear them, you really need to hear them. That's for you, Weston. Okay. And then the rest of the stuff is pretty self-explanatory. One date that is not on here is Monday, May 11th. We're going to have our band camp meeting for everybody that's planning on going to band camp next year. So 8th graders through 11th graders. I don't think we're failing any seniors this year that are coming back. So everybody who's planning on going to band camp, and as for students and parents, that'll be Monday night, May 11th at 7 p.m. That will be on the website. I think it already is, and that will be we'll be hammering your kids about that. We'll be talking about costs, timelines, payments, all that kind of stuff. So there may be more information forthcoming that night about another big thing we're doing that we really can't officially announce yet. So, I mean, you know what it is, but I can't officially say anything until after we get board approval. So we're hoping that we can combine that meeting into two big informational meetings that night and try to get you in here and out of here really quickly. And if there's anything else, another big one is the food booth downtown. It's a great blast. If you have not come down and worked down there, please sign up for a shift and come down and spend some time downtown at Festival and grill some shrimp and have some great fun with us. And then we want to also point out that their band camp dates are on there for next fall, as well as Nighttime Classic will be September 26th next year. And we're looking forward to a big show and a lot of fun that day. Mr. Bookie? Yes, I did. Okay. All right, thank you very much, and enjoy the Kennewick Hills Jazz Ensemble under the direction of Chris Bookie. Now, while the jazz band's going back in their seats, I want to point out one in particular date, the May 13th date. May 13th at 8 o'clock here in the PAC, you can hear the percussion ensembles, more than one. There's going to be several different percussion pieces. You're going to hear some guest artists from our middle school percussion section, which is, you'll be pleasantly surprised at how well they play. And then you get to hear a full program from the jazz band as well. And we're looking at possibly a guest artist as well, a possible jazz singer coming in that I'll talk about later. But again, if you have not been to that concert in the past, it is a wonderful concert. So May 13th, you get to hear the jazz band full program and percussion ensembles and some guest artists. So please, I hope to see you here on Wednesday, May 13th. And we have one more chair. And the next piece is by a composer by the name of James Kurnow, who is quickly becoming one of our most prolific American composers. And I think you'll really enjoy this three-movement piece. And traditionally, we don't applaud between movements, and if you will not applaud between movements, it will kind of set the feel a little bit better. So this is Appalachian Dances. Before we close our program, I'd just like to recognize a few people. First of all, I would like to recognize, and I think the kids on stage here would also like to give them a big round of applause. But could I just recognize the booster group for everything you guys do for us? We would not be able to do what we do without you. So I'd just like to give a big round of applause for all of our parents that help out all the time. I would like to recognize a few people. First of all, I want to recognize Alicia Bergman and Josh Mullins. Where are they? Alicia and Josh wave. They're in the percussion section. They both were with a Scholastic drum line that played at world-class finals in Dayton, Ohio this past weekend. There was a group by the name of Genesis that was based in Jenison, made up of high school and college percussionists from all over the area. And what was your final standing? Sixth, right? Eighth place in the world. Eighth place in the world, Scholastic Open. Great opportunity for them. And these three young people don't know they're going to get recognized either. Andy Del Rosso, Becca Hilliard, and Adam Smith. Will you guys wave? These three young people are going to be spending 2.5 weeks with me in Europe this summer with a group called the Southern Michigan Ambassadors of Music, and they'll be performing in 8 countries across 14 days, and with the band and choir. A couple of them are singing, all 3 of them are playing. So we have some people doing some international travel this summer as musicians, so congratulations to those 3 young people. Before I recognize the last group, I do want to thank you for your patience this evening with a little bit of a late start. We had about 6 or 8 athletes and dancers coming from all over different areas, athletic events, dance studios and such, and we were right down to the last minute with a few of them getting here, so thanks for your patience. But these kids do a ton of things. They're not just in band, they do athletics, they do dance, they do jobs, they do church youth group. They are very, very involved, and that's the way I like it. These kids do a ton of things, and I'm really proud of the way they spread themselves out and give of themselves in many different ways. And with that being said, I would like to have our seniors stand up. This is their last spring concert, so seniors, can you stand up and be recognized? Most of them have put in 8 long years with us, and they put in blood, sweat, and tears for all 8 years. And they start out as these little kids that, you know, I always like to say, I get them as snot-nosed 10-year-olds, you know, little kids, and then they leave us young ladies and gentlemen. And I couldn't be any prouder of them. They're a great group of kids, and I'm glad that they've been with us for all this time. And so thank you for all your contributions over the last 8 years, and especially the last 4 here at the high school. And with that being said, we will close the program. If you would, at the end of the evening, give your kids a few minutes. We have a dance competition that we're hosting this weekend, and we need to clear the stage and clear the band room. So your kids are going to be about 10 to 15 minutes before they can leave, and then you can go for ice cream, because they don't have to get up in the morning. Mr. Bookie and I and Mr. Hostler do, but the kids get to sleep in. So they're going to take about 10 or 15 minutes afterwards to clear the stage and clear the band room and get things ready. And if you can just wait for them in the lobby area, that'd be great. Okay, thanks so much for being here. I hope to see you at some of the upcoming events. Again, we'll wave to you on the Memorial Day parades on May 25, and hope to see some of you here on the 13th and on the 7th, right? Thanks very much for being here, and enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here this evening. Drive carefully on the way home. Enjoy this wonderful spring weather coming this weekend, and thanks for being here. Good night.